bad copy.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere.
Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Knowledge. It isn't free. You gotta pay attention.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Scobie, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbreds Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
All right, everyone, here we are. We're at Saratoga Saturday again. We're going to be hitting 2 big races, the stakes races, the main ones on the turf. The first one up is the 9th race. It's for the fillies, the Oaks Invitational. They're going to be going a mile and 3/16. Today, we're going to be, I'm teaming up with Geo for the first time. This is going to make history in the making, Geo. What do you think about that?
You know, absolutely, folks. Welcome to Saratoga Saturday. And I am delighted to be here today doing this deep dive with none other than Charles Trent. Excited about our first gathering, even though we've been colleagues for a long time. Excited about these two races. Coincidentally, very long races on the turf. One for the fillies and one for the older horses going marathon distance at a mile and a half. So one note, since you know that John and I take care of Saratoga Saturday on a normal basis, John will be doing a separate show on the sword dancer, the marathon sword dancer, with the photograph numbers and patterns. So stay tuned for that. And Charles and I are going to carry the load here with these two races. Hopefully we'll provide some valuable information so you can approach your daily double and your late pick 5 as well. So I'm ready to go, Charles. How about yourself?
I'm ready to go. I wore my 49ers hat. Sorry, Gio, about your. Hey, we're gonna.
You gotta love Charles for putting that on. And I kid you not, folks. Instantaneously, I noticed he had the 49er hat on because when you're a diehard, lifelong Rams fan, you notice anything that opposes us in the room. And when I saw that 49er hat, I said, Charles, you did it to me. I got to get you back another time, but I like that. I like it. I'm feeling the NFL coming soon.
Yeah, I had to draw first blood. Sorry.
Okay. All right, so we're going to deep dive right now. The Grade 2, $500,000 Saratoga Oaks Invitational. These, of course, are for fillies that are 3-year-old. All right? So let's lead off. I'll start with the number 1 horse, which is Opulent Restraint. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of regard for this filly because she has been improving, and she comes off 2 rather razor-sharp races. Sometimes you don't have to win to be considered razor-sharp races. So I like the fact that Pratt is back up on this filly. You always got to respect Chad Brown. You know, in her last, you thought that she was going to quit in that race going against Nitrogen, but she held her own. She fought. She was game in the stretch, but had to settle for that close 3rd place finish. I see her as a contender in this race, a win contender. I feel that she should get a good trip. You got to trust Flavien Pratt. Do I think she is a stone cold winner? No, but she will get a good trip. She made it high on my handicap, but in this race, a field of 6, I do find another more appealing, but I'm going to use her in my deeper gimmicks, my pick 5, and certainly my save a daily double. On to you, Charles. Whatever your thoughts are, let's hear it.
Well, my thoughts are, I think you kind of nailed it. I'm glad you mentioned that last race of hers. Her barely just finishing 3rd against Nitro. Look, that race, if you go back and you watch the film on that race, this horse was fighting all the way. It was all heart. It was just the bob, basically, of the heads. I mean, that's the way it went. It was a very hard-fought race. Like you said, she hasn't been proving every race, especially the last 3 races. If you go at them, look at them, every race on video, she's doing better and better and better. And like you said, how can you fault Chad Brown, Pratt? You can't. I personally think this horse, if this horse does not get the lead, this horse is going to be setting itself up perfect in a perfect speed, sit there on the pace really tight. But I actually think this horse might get the lead. That's how I'm actually seeing this today. And with Pratt out there on there, I think she's one of 2 horses that have an excellent shot of winning this race. she ended up being my #1 choice in this race.
So you land on her. Interesting,
I
Charles.
land on her.
And, I don't blame you one bit.
It's all because of that last race. I just love the heart and the fight in her. And now she's, she got a little rest there, but she's still fine-tuned. I just don't see nothing wrong with her. And like I said, she's one of 2 horses I really think really has the greatest chance of winning. But this field is actually, you have to admit, it's a very nice field of fillies.
It is. I got something positive to say about every one of these fillies. Obviously, I'm going to land on somebody stronger, and I think this one horse is absolutely dangerous in this race as well. So, and I have no reservations about the distance.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so we'll move on to the number 2. Let's let you lead off on Sign No More.
Yeah, Sign No More. Here's another horse that has been improving, especially last time out. It was in a small stakes race, yes, but this horse did everything right. If you look at the video, everything was done perfect. This is a closer, though. And this horse, I believe in this race, this horse has to sit probably a little bit closer than the last couple of races this horse ran. But remember, this horse came from Ireland, and it's only had 2 races here in the States. And if you look at those races in depth and you watch the videos, improvement each time. Yes, they were in smaller stakes, so this is a step up. But I do not blame Brandon Walsh. And definitely you're going to have Irad aboard. I mean, you can't blame, you can't, look back on that. And like I said, this one will be flying late, must stay close to win this race. But I think this horse is definitely for the exotics, the bottom side.
All right, interesting, Charles. I'm going to add a little more, a different type of angle with this horse, but I agree with everything you said. I feel that this filly has a future. I don't know if the future's right now. I dug into those European races and the 2 that she made here in the States over at Pimlico and in my backyard here at Monmouth. One thing about her last race, and I like to see this, I like to see a hunger, I like to see an aggressiveness. Alex Concepcion, if you watch that video again, the move he made in between horses, and this filly responded. So I found it was interesting after that sensational ride. Walsh is now moving to Irad. Obviously, Irad, if not the best, one of the top riders in the industry who times his closes to the T. I feel that this filly's built for the distance. She is stepping into deeper waters. But if you look back, she was dismissed at the window twice in Europe at 14-1, at 40-1. She outran her odds. Her last was visually impressive. Folks, watch that race at Monmouth. That's telling me that this horse, not only does she have an aggressive rider, but if this horse needs to pass a horse or fight, go in between, she's already demonstrated that she can. Now, I found it interesting that this gal's got a series of works on the synthetic at Turfway Park. That's interesting because this is a long race on the turf, stepping into deeper waters, and now they prepare for this race with those series of workouts on the synthetic. If there was going to be a horse that has the ability to upset the field, meaning when I give you my top 3, this horse made my top 3, it's going to be underneath. I got to make a business decision for myself if I want to go 3 deep in my multiples, especially in my pick 5. But the respect is there, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse outran her odds again.
Totally agree. And she happens to be my 3rd pick also in this race. And the main reason why is you kind of hit on it. Way Alex rode her last time, He's not known as much as Irad. Okay, he doesn't get the mounts like Irad. But Alex is an aggressive rider. And when he put her in that spot, he was basically saying, I hope she responds, you know. He's given her the opportunity and she responded. So, with that being said, Irad probably in the country, arguably, is in the top 5 most aggressive riders in the country. Okay, so you're not losing anything there. You're going to have an aggressive rider that's going to put her in a spot where she belongs. The thing is, like we just said, can she handle this next step up? That's the only question in my book. I think she's got all the rest of the tools. So that's why I'm having her finish 3rd myself.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she outran her odds a couple times. She's a type of filly that belongs in the race. Obviously, there are others who just have a deeper body of work, but you can't dismiss her experience. She's got 4 wins on the lawn. She's got more races under her belt, and it's her 3rd start at 3. And fillies, when they get deeper into their 3-year-old campaign, they're more developed. I could see this horse making a lot of noise as a mare later on, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Definitely.
All right, let's move forward. I'm going to start with Go-Go Boots, which is the 3-horse. You got to draw attention to any time you get connections of Jose Ortiz up from Miguel Clement, especially the way Jose's been riding. However, this filly's got her 2 wins on a synthetic. 1 as a juvenile, 1 in her first start at 3. When you win 2 on a synthetic and you move on to the lawn, I need to see more. I need to see a deeper, improved performance. She is making her USA debut. So making a USA debut, I always say, it depends on the travel, it depends on the conditioning, and it depends on the trip the filly's going to get. To win here, I think it's a reach. But the fact that she kept that company and they're bringing her over, making her USA debut, and you get Jose Ortiz, the horse is going to get action at the window, maybe even a little too much. I think she'll be an underlay. But for me, I look at her as a wild card. I'm going to use her only exclusively in a deeper gimmick like a Save a Triple or my Superfecta.
Well, I'm kind of like with you on that one also. Because, basically, I have this 4th, her coming in 4th, because I think she has enough shot to hit some of the bottom gimmicks, okay, with your tries and stuff. With Jose jumping aboard, my one question, another thing about this horse, Buick rode this horse last time out, all right? Buick's at Saratoga Saturday, and he's only got 1 mount Saratoga. And he does very well when he comes over here to the States. You know, he has a very high win percentage. My question is, why didn't he get this mount? You know, I know Miguel is probably going off from what his dad's done in the past, which I know he learned from his dad. His dad was one of the best. And Miguel he's on fire right now. He's doing very good.
He's having a great meet.
So, you know, he switched to jocks. I'm not saying that Jose's is worse than Buick. I'm just saying I'm kind of questioning because Buick is going to be over here if he flew over and he's only going to ride 1 race. But Bobby Flay owns this horse. This horse has got tons of talent. I'm like you. But for me, I'm just going to put it on the bottom side of my exotics, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
You know, and that's an interesting point you just made. And folks, what I think is advisable, now sure, you pick 5, you got to bet beforehand. And I know I'm going too deep in this race, and that's just what I'm doing. I may go 3, depending on my day, but it's a 6-horse field. You got to be decisive. But one thing to notice about this gal, because she is making a USA debut, watch 2 things. Look at her in the paddock. Watch the board. If she's lighting up the board, if you all of a sudden look up and you see 2-1, that's interesting. There could be some smart Bobby Flay money on that. So, but I need to visually see her performing on the lawn, which I haven't seen like she won her 2 races on a synthetic. bred well, if she travels well, she could run a good race first start here, but I need to see it. So I'm not going to use her on the win end.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just going to jump onto the 4 Evershed. Another Ireland bred horse here, but it's been running here in the States. So this horse has done, the last 2 races done nothing wrong. Just has been improving, been running at much lower levels, of course. Broke its main and then it ran at an allowance race, non-winners of 1. Dylan Davis is aboard. Probably a good plus for that, because he's a nice strong rider. I've always liked him a lot. But I mean, this horse, or I should say, her breeding is really good. She looks nice. I don't blame her for taking a shot, but personally, I'm taking a step back off of this horse today.
Okay, interesting. My findings are such. Obviously not as experienced as other fillies in the race. I do like that she began her 3-year-old campaign with a rather impressive win over at Colonial Downs. So she ran twice as a juvenile, won her second out in the maiden special. In that race, again, aggressiveness. The field wasn't something to write home about. And I like Dylan Davis a lot. But in my opinion, because of the continuity of Daniel Santana riding this filly, and he could ride Daniel Santana. He's won a lot of races in Florida. Obviously, he's not known in Saratoga, but he's the type of jockey that if he stays on a horse, I think the horse will perform with him being familiar with the horse. In this case, too much of a step up. I would have preferred to see Santana stay on, giving him a mount at Saratoga. I know he's riding at Colonial, and they have a big day on Saturday as well with the Arlington Million there. So I understand it. But if the connections were really high on this horse, this is a big race. This is a grade 2. I would say bring him over. Learning, stepping stone. As much as I think this filly has a future, I can't use her here in this race.
Yeah.
I'll begin with Totally Justify. Okay. Now, this gal had me a little perplexed because I did a few double takes. Her race over the Saratoga lawn last year in the PG Johnson, I liked a lot. Composed. She was making a first start on the lawn. I really liked the race, and I was leaning towards considering her in this race. Rusty Arnold is one I've always had a lot of respect for. It is the daughter of Justify. But in her last, in that grade 1 Belmont Oaks, she really had every opportunity in the race, and she folded. And Opulent Restraint was in the race, Fiona, Nitrogen. And based on that effort, even though it was a strong field, and she's running more grade 1s over everybody else in this race, I was torn because originally when I saw that Saratoga race, I said, I like this filly. I do. But the others became more appealing. Again, if I'm going to use Totally Justify, if she beats me on the win, then she beats me, but I'm going to use her maybe in a Saver Super. Others are just more appealing based on that last effort. That's the way I land on her. But a talented filly, I just had no excuse for her in the last race. She quit, and now she's going a deeper distance again.
Yeah, Totally Justified has left me totally confused every time I watch her run. I mean, I'm with you. The last race, I actually thought she had a shot in that race. I didn't think she was going to win, but I thought she had a shot. And like you said, she was nowhere to be found. And that's happened to me with her on a couple other races in the past. Now, we won't even talk about the Breeders' Cup because Breeders' Cup is a different beast. Toss that one. But she's like basically good and then bad. And then, mediocre and then good again. It's like, which one are we going to get today?
Yeah, I don't trust her.
So for me, I'm not even going to think about her, and if she beats me, she beats me.
But you know something? Based on her body of work and that race on the Saratoga lawn, the fact that she's kept some company, she's a deserving entry in this field. But I just can't, I couldn't land on her over a few others who I think are really moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I'm going to go on to the bottom horse, and I'll lead with her because this is my biggest threat, my top choice in the race. And it's not because she's won all 4 of her starts. I'm going to expand on it. First of all, first things first, total respect for Grand Motion all the time. And I love the swagger, if you will, the disposition and the confidence that Kenrick Carmouche is having at Saratoga now. You know, obviously he's a solid rider. Many people don't reference him as being elite, but he just won the other grade 1 on the lawn. Now he comes back to ride a filly that he's won 3 times on her. I like the way this horse has traveled. She won the 3 races in New York, and then she went on an off track over at Penn, took care of business, in my opinion, won rather easily, wasn't all out, saving some for this race. And now here's another catch. Notice the work on the synthetic and then turning from the synthetic back on the lawn, around the dogs, a conditioning race, a conditioning workout. I think there's a very real possibility. Now she's stepping up. She's stepping up. The one's got more class. I think it's going to be a dogfight in the stretch. It's close. I'm going to use Chad Brown's Opulent Restraint. I may use Sigh No More, the 2. But this horse, they have her to beat. And she should get a good trip. I have no reservations about the distance. And when a horse has a nose for the wire, you got to respect her once again. So Laura Lynn's going to be my top choice, slightly over the 1. I'm definitely going to use a 6-1 and 6-2 exacta, and I'm playing those 3 horses in my triple.
Yeah, this is my second choice. I think this is the other horse that could win this race. The reasons why I really respect this horse is Grand Motion, number one thing. A lot of people, some people have even forgotten, he's won a Kentucky Derby. He knows how to get a horse prepped up for the big event. He can't get them there. A lot of people say he's a turf trainer. No, he could do a lot of other things too. But right now, his specialty is turf, and we are on turf today. This horse, like you said, has done nothing wrong, period. Won everything you want. So as an owner and as a trainer, because I was a trainer too, if you had a horse that keeps on doing that, you want to keep moving them up the ladder, but let them learn. My question is, can this horse get the distance first? I personally think she can. I really do. Grand Motion's going to have her ready, even though she's been off since late June. No big deal there. Kendrick, you touched on that. A lot of people don't know about Kendrick, but the people that do follow racing, especially in the New York area, I'm going to tell you what, if you want a guy to get your horse out of the gate great and keep them, either A, have us go to the lead, or B, pressure the leaders with a nice horse, he's your man. He is solid in that territory. So with that being said, I think this horse will be the pace right behind the 1 personally. The question is, can she pass the 1, in my opinion? I'm the opposite of you. I'm going to say she's not going to quite get it over the 1, but I totally 100% will not be shocked if the bob of the heads go the other way.
Yeah, good points there, Charles. Listen, a lot of times if I see a horse coming into a race 4 for 4, say like Brad Cox's Good Cheer or some other fillies we've seen have big runs to begin their career, you try to find a way to beat them. And this horse actually may not be favored. The horse may be second choice on the board because of Chad Brown, and Flavian Pratt. and I can understand why. And then that wild card. How much money is Jose Ortiz's horse for Miguel Clement going to get? That's going to be an interesting board to reach. But I'm 6-1-2 all the way. That's how I land on this race. I got to make a business decision for myself if I want to go 3 deep or just go 2 deep, 1-6 or 6-1 in my pick 5. In terms of daily double, I'm using both of them with my top choice in the next race, which we're about to get into now.
And same here. I'm using the 1-6 with my daily double. When it comes to pick 4s, pick 5s, I'm kind of like you. I'm going to kind of wait till game time. I probably just going to go with my top 2, but I'm like you. I might throw in Jose in there, the number 2, for a little bit of a price, especially if the price goes up a little bit. You want to kind of something there to make your pick 4, pick 5 a little juicy if that comes through. It makes it nice.
Yeah, and I actually have it calculated in my head. I think a 6-1-2 triple for $2 may pay somewhere in the area of $25 or $30 on a deuce. So I start thinking about that. Is this a race where I'm going to go a 10-time triple? That means I got to eliminate the others who I don't think are as appealing, and there's risk because of Jose Ortiz's horse making the USA debut.
Right.
All right. Well, listen, there you have it. The Geo and Charles Grade 2 Saratoga Oaks. We're now going to move forward to our daily double and the main event of the day, the Grade 1 mile-and-a-half marathon sword dancer. This race has produced many wonderful horses over the years. All you have to do is look up the history, and I'm always excited to dig down deep and handicap this race. A lot of arguments you can make in this race, so I got to be decisive, but I'm ready to deep dive. So, Charles, do you want to lead off, or do you want me to lead off with the rail?
You go ahead and lead off. You're doing fine there.
All right. So we're going to start off with the one horse, which is Cordobis, El Cordobis, if I'm pronouncing it right. I believe I nailed it. El Cordobis. All right. Godolphin Blue. I'm a big fan of Godolphin Blue. Every time they bring horses in to race at this distance, another horse racing exclusively overseas. Here's how I see this. Flavian Pratt, big advantage. Charlie Appleby, and he don't just have this guy in the race, this gelding in the race. He's got Nation's Pride, which I'm going to get into later. The last was intriguing. However, it was only a 4-horse field. And I say to myself, you know what? Even though I like the way the horse is moving in the direction, I have no reservations about the distance. Not only has he hit the board all 4 times going a mile and a half, the pedigree suggests that's where he belongs. You got to say Godolphin Blue, Charlie Appleby. Even though over the last year or so, Charlie Appleby's numbers haven't been the typical Charlie Appleby numbers, but I still trust the process. I think this horse is a contender. I do like 2 others over him. My 3rd choice in the race, but I think this horse makes a forward move. I trust the travel. I just wish the last race he had more of a deeper field. It was only 4 horses. But in terms of conditioning, I trust Charlie Appleby. And that's where I see him as a contender in the race, but more so underneath to me.
Yeah. You could keep on going on about, the trainer, Appleby. I mean, it could go forever. How great this guy does all over the place in the world. Pratt's taking over for Buick. Buick's on another horse for Appleby in this race. Remember, Buick comes over here and rides, and when he does, look out. But in this race, it's one side note here on this horse. It's a crying shame this is a gelding because this horse is bred just royally. Yeah. And it's a really nice horse. But it's a gelding, so it is what it is. Maybe that's why it runs well too. Who knows? I think this horse is a super dangerous horse in this race. I think this horse will be sitting at a nice spot, should be close to the pace overall. I think this horse is going to make one big move. He's definitely in my top 3 picks. I have him finishing second. Okay. So I think he has an excellent shot of even having a chance of winning this race. But there's another horse in here I like, not just a little bit better, a little bit more than that.
All right, interesting. Good points there, Charles. So I guess we're ready to move on to Rebel Red, the 2-horse. You want to lead or you want me to take the lead?
I'll take over here. Rebel Red, nice horse, of course. Cherie DeVoe, she's been hot in the last year or so, year and a half. Good breeding. This horse is going to be closing. My question is, can this horse handle some of this caliber? I think that's we have to wait and see about that a little bit more, because every time he's ran in graded 2 and stuff, hasn't done very well. When he's in the smaller stakes, does well. So I'm personally taking a seat back on this horse. I'm just going to watch this one. So that's how I see this horse running in this race.
Okay, interesting stuff. I will add for sure. Now, this guy was in my backyard in his last big day over on Haskell Day. It was the 19th, right? Yep. I had written over it. And I got a good look of him that day. And that's the day I love redistricting. So I handicapped him before, and I saw him up close in the paddock. Do you know this horse has one eye? He had a barn accident of some sort, and he races. He has one eye. He has one functioning eye. However, talented, not sure if this horse is grade 1 material. I felt it was interesting. Now IRAD is up for Cherie DeVoe. Last 4 races, different jockeys. Sayaz most recently when he was at Monmouth. Irad's brother Junior, Jose Ortiz, was up. So does the horse get the trip? I'm not entirely sure. I felt talent, but not grade 1 talent. I like Irad, but in this race, the field is too deep. I'm not using Rebel Red in my exotics. I have others that are just more appealing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you want to lead off with the 3, or do you want me to?
I'll start off with Vote No, because I'll be rather brief, which isn't easy for me, folks, but I don't have too much to add on this guy. Gelding, Carmouche gets the mount. The numbers just don't compare in terms of speed figures and overall body of work to many in this field. This guy will need a perfect trip. I'm not saying he couldn't get it, but he'd have to have a lot of things go his way just to hit the board. He does, I will say, in race review, he's got some massively strong closing kick. When he comes and comes hard, but he's going to need the trip, and there are others who are more formidable in their big runs in a stretch. I did note that he did win at 1.5 miles, and horses are creatures of habit. When you've done something once, you could do it again. But in this field, too much of a step up. I dismissed him, will not be using Vote No in this race.
Yeah, there's not much here for me also. Vote no means no for me. I mean, I'm no on this horse, 100%. Kendrick is going to be riding it, which is a nice aggressive rider, like we've talked about him already earlier. He's going to get this horse probably a little bit more closer to the pace than usual. But bottom line is, I don't see this horse ringing any kind of bells anytime soon in this race.
All right, so we were rather quick. We have an agreement with him. Let's move forward to the 4. This will be rather quick for me too, but I'll let you lead off on Padiddle.
Padiddle. Okay, I'll make it quick too. This horse is moving up in class. It's a nice horse, but I just don't know about this level. I do like Santana aboard. He's another kind of aggressive rider. He doesn't, get big mounts all the time. But for me, I'm just like vote no. It's still no for me on this horse.
Yeah, all right. So Gelding, son of Empire Maker. I had a big word I put on my paper here, simply said overmatched. Again, sometimes you've got to respect connections like Fernando Abreu taking a shot here. David, who made the morning line on this, I looked it up earlier. He put 30-1. I probably would have put somewhere in the area of 50 or 60-1. This is a reach, overmatched. I like the connections going for an opportunity. They're probably looking for a minus share at best, but I will not be using this horse on my tickets.
Yeah.
I want to lead with Nation's Pride.
You want to lead it? Okay, go ahead.
All right, because when I have a lot to say, I want to just lead and go from there. And there's some other compelling horses in this race, but Nation's Pride is where I land. And I'll elaborate for many reasons. A, this is obviously Charlie Appleby's horse, and William Buick is riding this guy. Now, the big wins, if you want to watch two races, watch the wins over at Colonial and Woodbine, both grade ones. Sometimes you look back at certain races and you say, if this horse repeats those efforts, and they're not from 4 years ago, they're from last year. Or excuse me, one of the races was late 23 and one was in 24. But that showed me top shelf, grade one ability. Now, you can make an argument in his last two. He won over overseas in Saudi Arabia over there. Smaller field, not as deep. And then didn't show up in his last. I think there's freshening. I think the horse is going to be a significant pace factor. I see William Buick leading or sitting right off the lead. And with a horse with this magnitude of talent, who has two races over the lawn at Saratoga, and with those two races in his body of weight, you, as a handicap, you could say, is he still as good as he once was? Or isn't he? I still think he's still as good, even though his last race may not demonstrate it. I think he comes to play here. I think Charlie Appleby's got this horse prepared and conditioned. I like a horse that's going to be on or near the lead, where you don't have to worry about a trip, going 1.5 miles. Top choice. Am I using another in my doubles? Yeah, as a saver, but I'm leading with this guy in my exacta, my triple, and my superfecta key, because I think if he runs his best race, he's the horse to beat.
All right. Well, that's well said there. Nation's Pride here, the 5. This horse kind of reminds me of the Niners. Always great performance, right? They're fast. They get there. Doesn't always get the win, no. But this horse had a nice break. It's been training. Okay, I don't worry about the times of workouts. I worry about the spacing out of the workouts. And this horse is supposed to get over ground. This horse is dropping in class. Buick is flying out here. This is all a plus. Appleby's a plus. This horse could sit right on the pace. Whoever's on it, who's ever leading it, doesn't really matter. He's going to be sitting very close. This horse is one of my best bets of the day. Okay?
Whoa, you're on the same page with me here, Charles.
I really like this horse a lot. I think they got him ready to rock and roll with Buick flying in. It says everything else for me, that the green light is go. And just like the Niners, touchdown with this horse.
Hey, I kind of like that. I feel you. I feel your energy. And by the way, folks, we're going to get to the next horse. I'm going to let Charles lead off with Farbridge, and you'll see why I leaned on Nation's Pride even though Farbridge is one heck of a horse who loves the marathon distance and he's been training well, but get ahead, Charles. You lead with the number 6, Farbridge, and I will definitely follow with some thoughts that I feel some people will find compelling.
Yeah, this horse has been very, very good of late. Miguel's first graded winner, all right, his as a trainer after his dad passed on. Joe Rosario stays aboard, knows this horse 100%. Is this another horse that's going to sit on pace? Maybe this horse might even find itself a little bit on the lead, maybe. The last race was excellent. So I think this horse is dangerous. And if you're going to throw this horse in there, I would do it definitely for the exotics, the bottom side of exactas or tries. This horse ended up being my 3rd pick in this race. But I think this horse is just going to be up against Nation's Pride, which has beaten a lot of these horses, this type of style of horses many times before, and has beaten Farbridge back in, what was it, June of last year. So I just don't think there's going to be a tide turn of, Farbridge switching that loss against Nation's Pride. So I do think the horse is nice. I like their shot here, but you're still going up against the beast, in my opinion.
All right. Well done there, Charles. Let me make the points I wanted to make with this horse. All respect. I mean, nobody, not me, not you, not anybody watching this show, can argue with this horse's success. 3 out of 4 at the marathon distance, has been placed in multiple grade 1s. Son of English Channel. Rosario stays, like you said, hot barn. But here's the catch, all right? Jonathan Stetton says this often. He says, you know what? Horses get on great runs, but they're not machines. And that thought came to my head because there's a lot of reasons to like this horse because he's been a mark of consistency. Arguably, the best horse in this division. Going 1.5 miles, grade 1, grade 2. But here's the catch. If you study his races, he's had wonderful trips. And the one thing I noted, I think is very instrumental. Look at these 4 wins in small fields. Last year, this race, the Sword Dancer, 5 horses. The Turf Classic right after that, 5 horses. Then he won the Man of War, 5 horses. And then his last, the Bowling Green, 4 horses. So 4 monster wins, but in small fields where everything went his way. Now, sure, this isn't a field of 12 or 13, but it's a field of 9. And you get deeper fields, there's more work to do. And if you look at the way, in my opinion, how this race is panned out, Charlie Appleby knows the talent that's right outside of him. And so does William Buick. And it's going to be sort of like a cat and mouse. The break is important, but it's positioning that means everything here. And I just feel that Nation's Pride is going to be forward the entire race, as will Farbridge. And now Farbridge is going to be tested like he hasn't in all those races I mentioned. And now that's where the class is ultimately going to be challenged. And I like a horse on the outside that's going to be a menace here. And I like that horse on the inside that Pratt's going to be on. So if you look at outside pressure, horse that's going to be on the lead in Nation's Pride, and inside pressure coming deep in a stretch, if there's a race where Farbridge is going to falter and not be as good as he's been, it's going to be a race like this. If he wins, again, I tip my hat and Mr. Setti loses. Simple as that. That's my approach in the race.
Well, my approach to the race is anyone else wins other than National Pride, I'm going to lose.
Oh, you're all in on him. Okay.
I'm all in. The number 7 horse, El Risen. Nice horse. Last time did finish second, but it finished second behind Far Bridge. Far Bridge was actually pulling away from this horse. He was not going to catch Far Bridge. If you go back and watch that video, they could have ran another quarter of a mile, eighth of a mile. Doesn't matter. He was not going to catch Far Bridge in that race. This horse will be closing, but I just don't think this horse has that closing speed, especially like Nation's Pride, to be honest with you. There's a couple other in here that might even have better closing speed. So for me, it's a pass on the 7 El Risen.
All right, again, nicely done there, Charles. I won't have much more to add. I will add that Dylan's back up for Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher, grade 1s at Saratoga, always makes you look a little harder. Lightly raced. It's a 4-year-old facing older horses. 3 for 3 in exactas, winning 2 at Saratoga, and has won at the distance. Again, would I be blown away if this horse ran his best yet? No, because he's steady and improving. He's 6 for 8 on the lawn, holding some improving company. But, this particular race is deeper waters, and there's just others that seem more appealing. He's a stretch threat to maybe get a piece of a superfecta wager, and that's to the extent I'm going with.
Yeah.
You want me to start off with Grand Sonata, the 8?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
All right. I'm going to lead off with Grand Sonata. Now, folks, you have to keep abreast of this because he's also entered at Colonial Downs in the Arlington Million. So we'll know before race day if Grand Sonata even makes it to the gate. So if he's running in the Arlington Million, you won't see him. You'll put a line to him. He'll scratch. If for some reason he races at Saratoga, I'll add a quick thought. It's probably going to be on Pletcher's advice. Nice horse on the lawn. Again, because it's a deep field, he's kept some good company. But if he does race in this race, he's at best, to me, a deeper exotic threat saver, because the horse to his outside, who we're going to get into, and I want to hear your thoughts on Grand Sonata first, but the horse to his outside, I think, is going to be a greater menace, and it's one that I feel is a contender in the race, which I'm going to get into. So that's all I have on Grand Sonata. Go ahead there, Charles.
All right. Grand Sonata, you're right. He's entered into the Arlington Million. I did a show earlier this week on the whole on the Arlington Million and my pick 5 and everything. In that race, when I handicapped it, I kind of handicap my top 4. You go in more depth, of course. John goes like the 1, 2, and that's about it. I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put it this way. I would not have even put this horse 7th in that race. Okay. So that's a very tough race. Arlington Million is a very tough race. In this race, I don't think this horse has got that much of a better shot, but it does have a slightly better shot than the Arlington Million, in my opinion. So if I was the trainer or the owners, however they do it, I would probably just stay in this race and take my shots, most likely picking up a minor award. That's the best I could see this horse doing. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, he's a handy horse. One race I took a good look at over at Kentucky Downs, which is not a racetrack or a turf course that is easy to race and run well at. And this horse's race at Kentucky Downs was special. I just think off of that effort, and Gaffleon was up, he paid $30-something that day. I felt he should have moved forward in a much more consistent manner. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's a specialist. He likes Kentucky Downs. Let's put it this way. I really like Kentucky Downs. But here's the key to Kentucky Downs. It's either you like it or you hate it.
Yeah,
All
right. Yeah.
And I have a theory all the time, every year, and it turns out more right than wrong. If you win or you come within 3 lengths of the winner of the race at Kentucky Downs, your very next race, no matter what track you go to, they do not win.
Interesting.
This horse followed that pattern, but this horse likes Kentucky Downs. Kentucky Downs is going to be here in 3 weeks. Why doesn't Todd just take the horse out of these races, condition this horse ready for Kentucky Downs, hit the first day of Kentucky Downs, maybe even get 2 races in there because they spread out the 7-day racing. They go like one day off a day.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks. They have 7 racing days and huge purses. Huge purses.
And the purses are phenomenal. If I had a horse like this that shows that they like Kentucky Downs, as an owner and as a trainer, I'd be going, we're going, because it's very rare to have those horses, and especially have them the following year. Okay.
That's going to be a footnote to remember, because if he, whether he runs in the Arlington Million or this big race at Saratoga, he may come back 3 or 4 weeks later. To keep that in mind in a turf race at Kentucky Downs.
So kind of watch how this horse runs, especially if he doesn't use too much energy.
Yeah.
It'd be really a nice little prep for the Kentucky Downs.
All right. I want to begin to close out this field at Utah Beach, the 9 horse. This is the horse who scares me the most, and it's going to be my main exacta under Nation's Pride. So if you guys have been following along, my order of finish, and I'm going to elaborate on Utah Beach because I feel the horse is dangerous. It's 5-9-1 over the 6 and 8. 5-9-1 over 6-8. So Nation's Pride, not Nation's Pride, over the 9 and the 1 in my exactas, and using both in my triple. But here's what I think about Utah Beach. All right, this was pretty interesting. I trust the barn. I like the way he has been developing from a overall energy and maturity standpoint. Now at 5, comes off 2 races at Churchill. The race 2 back, very, very impressed with his finish, his driving finish. And then last race, he lost to Rebel Red. But if you take a good look at him that race, the trip, I think he would have had a lot more to offer when the real running was happening in the stretch and he was bet strong on the board. I think there was some saved in his reservoir for this race, because think about it. The connections are saying, okay, what was that, the Curlywood? Curlywood is not even a graded stakes race at 170,000. Now they're saying, you know what? We feel you're good enough to go against the big boys in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer at Saratoga. So Saratoga debut, you get Jose Ortiz. I like the way the horse is training. Jose is back up from the time he ran, was on him in the Sycamore over at Keeneland. I just think it's a good spot from a positioning point of view, from a campaign point of view, ambitiously entered. I'd be very surprised if this horse is flat. I think the horse is going to come in a stretch. I think Jose's going to give this guy a good ride and a threat. I'm using him in my multiples. I like him most underneath Nation's Pride, and I like him with the 1 to fill out a triple. And I'm definitely going to use the 9 in most of my deeper exotic wagering, like my triple key and my superfecta key. And I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not going to single Nation's Pride like Charles is, but I'm using this horse in my multiples too, because if he pulls it off, Mr. Setti's got to get paid going forward.
Yeah, if he pulls it off, but this is what I'm doing, people. Nation's Pride's on top. I'm doing the 169 in the second spot and the third spot for my trifecta. That's how I'm playing it. because everything you said about Utah Beach is correct. I love every bit of that. You did not mention the trainer, Ignacio. He is going to be retiring. So this is probably one of his last hurrahs right here. Ignacio, if you didn't know anything about him, he's an excellent trainer. It's sad that the game is losing him. But I understand he's going to go back to his, I forgot what country he was from. Where was it? Argentina? I think.
I know LeBron. I don't know too much about him.
But anyway.
I know the success he's had in the past. And by the way, this horse is 4 for 7 at the distance.
Yes.
4 for 7. I forgot to add that.
Yeah, this horse is going to close like a bomb. Definitely has this shot there. Jose's aboard, another plus. Like I said, Ignacio's last hurrah. He's an excellent trainer. It's going to be sad to miss him here in the States too. But I'm just going, like I said, my number one pick, my solid pick of one of the pick of the days. I'm putting him on top of the 3 horses in my try. That's it. That's how I'm going for it. And like you said, if the 9 beats me, I'm not going to get a big payday. It sounds like you would, but that's how I feel.
Listen, I really feel that Charlie Appleby, either one of his horses, is going to make a strong impact on this race. Like the 5 more than anything, but it wouldn't shock me if it's a 5-1 exacta, all Charlie Appleby, with the 9-3rd. I just think it's a race where, and I say this with great respect because everything I said about Farbridge is a menace. You know, he's been racing great, probably the leader of this division, but he's had everything go his way in small fields. And I just think this time around, the horse is going to be under pressure. And if the others fail and he wins, then Mr. Setti loses. That's the way I look at the race.
Yeah.
All right. So
there we have it. I mean, there we have it. I always say this on my shows. If you want my whole card at Colonial Downs for the Arlington Million, which is another great turf race, I'm going to be in heaven all day Saturday. I don't know what you're doing, but I'll be watching those races, and I'll be flipping everywhere and catching my bets. Anybody wants all my picks at Saratoga Saturday, you shoot me an email, and I'll send it back to you. But like I said, once again, Nation's Pride is one of my top picks for the whole day at Saratoga, and I think we're going to have some great racing on the card on both tracks. Even but Saratoga's got a really nice card overall, very competitive.
Yeah, and listen, closing thought. First of all, Charles, it's been my pleasure to do this deep dive with you. Maybe we'll have more shows going on in the future, whether it's you and I or UI and John, and maybe even a quartet we'll throw big race Jim in there. But I'm excited. I'm going to watch your show you did on the Arlington Million. I gotta put that on my schedule to view over the next day or so. I'm excited about this daily double. It's compelling, and I can understand viewers going another direction if that's what they choose to do. Don't forget to watch Jonathan Stetton's Thoroughgraph show on this sword dancer. So we're going to plug that here, and let us know. Look, if you don't subscribe yet, subscribe, comment, let us know who you like. If there's any questions, whether for both of us or Charles or myself, hit the keyboard, ask the question, and we'll be delighted to provide an answer for you. Okay?
Yeah, and hit that when you hit that subscribe button, hit all the alert button too, so you can get all these shows. You get these 2 beautiful faces that you have right here on the right here, and
2 handsome guys that would be blind without their eyeglasses.
Yeah.
What more do you get?
I mean, and you're gonna probably see us talk about our football teams throughout the season. You know, a Ram fan over there. I'm sorry that you are one, but I'm a Niner fan, and it's going to be an interesting year. And you'll hear us banter back and forth on that too. So catch all those shows, hit the alert button, and I guess we'll sign off now. But so go out there and get that money this weekend, no matter what you do. But just cash those tickets. All right.
Let's go get them. Thanks for viewing.
See ya.
You ain't smooth, you ain't never gonna be a smooth operator.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final front. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Nobody does it better.